Go.
Hi, I'm Holly Morrison. Welcome back to our channel. So I'm here today to talk to you from my kitchen about my healing journey. So I feel like I tell people this individually, so I assume people on our channel kind of know the scoop. So I just wanted to start kind of at, not really the beginning, but the biggest beginning that I had. So that was 8 years ago. I went back into menopause for the second time and went into a very deep menopause and put on 50 pounds in like 6 months. I was pretty stressed out. And it's not like I'd ever hit an ideal body weight. I pretty much last time I saw my favorite body weight, which was when I got married and my first year of college. After that, it's been, so that's like 1980s, mid 80s. So I am now, probably 7 pounds away from what I weighed when I married my husband Keith 38 years ago. So I'm pretty happy with that. I don't think this is where I'm going to land long term, but my body has been autoimmune that I'm aware of since I was a teenager. So anyway, I just wanted to give y'all this journey, kind of put it all in one video and just give you some encouragement to not give up. This is my favorite shirt. I'd like people not to take me too serious, but take me serious. So I love Thumper and I love his girl, and I'm Keith's girl. So anyway, but okay, there was my silly part. Let's hope I don't have too many of those. All right, so anyway, I just wanted to tell you my channel is full of my journey, my Midwest meanderings, because really I think the deepest part of my healing journey has happened since we moved here 14 years ago. Okay, so I want to definitely put my before picture, and you see my along the way picture. There's no after. We're just still on the journey. But I'm maintaining the ground that I've gained in the last year and a half. Pretty excited about that. I've never done that. So I've never, ever in my entire almost 60 years done that. So I've always kind of done this thing. And I'm trying to stay healthy. That's my goal. Weight is always great, right? Like I am a solid 16. I haven't seen 16 since college. And I know I'm happy right now. There are days where it doesn't feel happy. There are days that my body's still kind of a bit on roller coaster. I am obviously in menopause, managing that with a touch of bioidentical hormones. I made a transition recently off of the cream version of that onto something else. But anyway, this journey thus far, what really was the tipping point for me to start taking my health back into my hands was my desperate cry to the Lord after I had a unbelievable wreck. Almost, it's 23 years ago. Life-changing. A head-on collision. I went from being an RN administrator to a patient, and I went from managing a staff of 100 and, at different times, a lot less or a little bit more, but, to being the patient. I lived in a hospital bed for 6 months. I didn't take a shower for 6 months. I did bathe, but I had a bed bath. I have a few pictures of that. I might put a few in there, I guess, but my foot was crushed. My left arm was broken in multiple places. I was hit head on by somebody driving like a bat out of hell, lost, and I had an encounter with the Lord that very moment, and I heard the Lord say, I allowed this truck to come this far and no further. I've had a journey with the Lord. He talks to me. I don't hear audible voices on a regular basis, but that was definitely a moment, a paradigm shift for me. So my journey back has been long, and it's been really hard. But I like to share the victories. You're welcome to hear the hard parts, but I've had a lot of breakthroughs. And I just would like people to know how to get there. So healing this frame has been a partnership with the Lord. And so as I talk about my journey, I'm going to talk about language that the Lord is giving me for what my calling is, which is to get the bride of Christ into the ark of natural remedies. So what has happened in the last year and a half, I feel like was the last piece of the pie, so to speak. It doesn't mean it's the only piece, but that's the name of a book I'm going to put out. And I'm sure it's going to have Noah's Ark in there. So I just wanted to let you know what I'm up to, but I also want you to know what the journey has been. There was a time where I was vegan and vegetarian and actually owned a restaurant for a short season. I catered for 2.5 years, and then we opened a restaurant called The Covenant. It exploded. It was successful. We stayed, in the black from day one, which was unheard of. Then the Lord suddenly, a half a year later, moves us to the Midwest. And I'm not real happy about it, but I feel like there was like a divine interruption. Like that was for my health, not the journey that I was going to stay on. It was a season, and it was an elimination diet, and it calmed down some of my triggers, but it did not get me into sustained vibrancy. And I'm not saying that this is all the time game on. It's not always 100%. There's some ups and downs. I work with my holistic doctor. She helps me with things that I can't get help with naturally, but she is recognizing that the things that I'm doing in the last year and a half have been epic on my health and epic on my labs. I know that it's epic on my health and on my labs. So, but also I just had my second dental checkup, and there is like no inflammation in my gums. So I used to have gingivitis, used to have bleeding when I would floss and brush. Still, this is now my second checkup with 100%. My dentist is blown away. Her hygienists are blown away because my daughters go in and we get our checkup at the same time. And so she's like pretty impressed. She's like, I would have never thought this. So anyway, all right. So obviously there's some people out there that I'm talking to that are metabolically sound. Bless you and congratulations. Not everything I share is going to be helpful for you, but I have friends who are metabolically sound. Their frame is the right size. They're smaller than a 16. I'm so happy about my 16. I mean, I've worked hard for this. So, but I'm just telling you that the journey we're on right now, like I said, is the last piece of the pie, because anti-inflammatory drugs are devastating to your body. Prednisone will save a life, but it will also kill you long term. I mean, not instantly, but when you become dependent on prednisone and prednisone-like drugs for jet neb treatments or inhalers. My grandmother, like, that's how she died. She had emphysema. It was imposed on her. She was a nurse, and she was in places that had junk up in the ceiling. They didn't even do lawsuits back at the time when she passed away because that wasn't even being talked about. So I watched her life seep away. I watched her die that way. I have had other family members that literally died on massive amounts. Now, I'm not saying the prednisone killed them, but it causes diabetes. It damages your organs, but it makes it to where you can live and hang in there, baby. But nobody wants to live that way long term. So the meat-based way we're eating right now has been sustained anti-inflammatory for me, for pain management, and for my Mary. No episodes of asthma. She's never gone 6 months without an asthma attack. We were like excited when we'd make it 3 months. She's gone 1.5 years without an asthma attack. Is this way of eating easy? It is now. It feels normal now. And we put out tips and tricks and ideas of how we're doing it. We've got a couple that Rachel's in the editing stages with. But, it's meat and fat heal. They heal your frame. I always give shout outs to channels that I like. And I've been sharing this particular guy a lot. He doesn't have new content, and he stopped sharing content. He's still healthy. He's kept all his weight off. He has no inflammatory markers. He has no gingivitis. His heart disease markers have all reversed. Mine have too, by the way. All of my stuff is reversed. My autoimmune disorder has, reversed. I mean, I'm on not the lowest. I was on a lower dose a few months ago, but I think we kind of went too low too quick. But that was my request with my homeopathic doctor. And she was a little concerned we went that low, but I had gone so hyper with my thyroid, so we dropped the dosage quite a bit dramatically with my MP or Armor. It's just the generic form of Armor thyroid medicine. But I've been on thyroid medicine, very high doses, never have lowered a dose, never have lowered a dose, for all of my adult life. So I don't know. I just want to give hope, but I want people to realize, if you can manage infectious disease and you can shut down inflammation, you have to understand, but that's about 3/4 of what causes disease and morbidity and mortality. People get sick, have a decreased quality of life, or they get sick and they die. And if you can manage infectious diseases, now obviously, you know, GSC doesn't fix everything. And if you've been on my channel long enough, you know, I am singing the praises of Zazie brand. I'm going to get Rachel to put that in ticker tape. We need to reach out to them. They should sponsor us. I talk about Zazie brand GSC better than probably everybody. So anyway, Zazie brand GSC can shut down all bacterial infection. I have never once seen it fail, ever. Now, you have to replenish, and you can shut down inflammation. You have eliminated like massive amounts of everything. Okay, so the healing journey. So twice I hit my max weight, and I haven't really talked about that because and even the pictures are hard to look at, but it's a victory. So it's okay to talk about it. It's okay to show it to you, because I'm not like going, okay, here's some clickbait. You can go from this to this in 5 seconds. No, it's actually hard work, but you can still do it, right? Okay, and I was mentioning Bob Briggs, and I was talking about his channel. It's so straightforward on his channel. And like I said, I think his last thing he uploaded was 9 years ago, but his stuff is amazing. So I'm gonna put some links down there for him. His nickname is Butter Bob. But the healing is in the fat and the meat. And it brings all inflammation markers down. Now, if you go lion diet, which is strict carnivore, you're gonna bring it down a lot faster. Now, can you sustain that? I can. I like some garlic and a little bit of thyme and some lemon juice and you know, little things like that. That makes it sustainable for us, but we reintroduced spices, we reintroduced a handful of foods to find out if any of that was gonna be a trigger for me or Mary, because we're the autoimmune girls, so we're the ones that have the issues in this family. So we're the ones that we are like the thermostat, like we're the like, okay, did this trigger anything? So we spent about 4 months reintroducing, and we put some stuff on the absolute never, don't visit, don't touch, never again list, which is hard, right? But breathing, right? My daughter not being able to breathe, that's hard. There's nothing harder than that. Me not being able to walk and not being able to sleep because I'm in pain. Like, oh, another update. Okay, so the healing journey, I feel like I'm kind of bouncing all over the place because it's exciting to me. Like, there's hope here, right? I hit my highest weight, kind of bounced around on that one, didn't I? Of 340 twice. First time was after my wreck, but I was in a hospital bed and a wheelchair and platform crutches. And I walked with a cane for 3 more years after that. So I had the hospital bed and the wheelchair for a long time. You know, that was almost 3/4 of a year. I remember the day I took my first shower, I cried because they had like one of those benches that you use when you're like 65 or 70 or 80 years old, I don't know. I did home health, so I saw people of all ages with that as an RN. So anyway, I literally, that's how I got in, and the shower got turned on and the water came on me and I cried. And I thought I would never feel like a human again. And that was the day one. But I continued to walk with a cane and continued to live in pain until the Lord kind of rerouted us. And we came here, and that weight actually never really came off. It lowered a bit, but I never really had like a sustained victory with that. I tried vegetarian for a bit, got some things under control, but then I started declining like super fast and super hard. So I was like, okay, well, this is definitely not where we're going to be doing this long term. But it was a short-term fix because it eliminated a lot of things that were triggering me. I never figured out what they were. And I've always been told meat's bad, eggs are bad, butter is bad. I'm here to tell you meat, eggs, and butter are the 3 most important foods that we eat every single day. Beef specifically, we eat a lot of that. We eat seafood too, we love that. Chicken and pork more periodically. So anyway, so I never really got a sustained breakthrough with that. We came to the Midwest, started learning about grass-fed beef, started learning about the benefits of raw milk. I've been dairy-free for over 10 years at that point because I had a reaction every time I would do anything in the milk category. So I lived off of nut milks, homemade ones that I would even ferment. So I made a cashew milk that was delicious, loved it, and it actually helped me to hang in there, baby, until I learned there was another way. So then we learned the joys of raw milk and fermenting raw milk. So mainly I do raw cream when I can get that. That's a little bit harder to get a hold to. But we do raw milk, we ferment it, make kefir. But that was actually my first YouTube video. So if you haven't checked that out, I'll put a link down below for that if I remember. Rachel, please keep a track of what I'm saying, I'm promising. So anyway, so that's when my healing journey really took a sustainable shift. And we started eating foods that were deeply healing, like collagen and bone broth and milk kefir and beef, grass-fed beef. Now, all of our beef, do we eat grass-fed? All of it? No. We don't make that kind of money. But if you shop at Aldi's and you have an Aldi's, you can totally eat grass-fed hamburger every single day and do it as cheap as conventional. They don't always have it on sale, but when they do, we're not going to tell you how full my freezer is right now with grass-fed beef. Okay, so I know these are a bunch of little rabbit trails, but they're all kind of painting a picture. So the journey thus far, my healing journey, it's been kind of all over the place until a year and a half ago. And so this one's, I believe, for the rest of our days. I feel the best I've ever felt in my life, minus the occasional roller coastery hiccup, because I have that as we're trying to land on my longer term thyroid medicine. But right now I'm still at the lowest, nowhere near, like my highest dose was 155 milligrams. So my base dose now is 30 with an occasional up with a couple of tabs that I can go up to a total of 60. So that's probably where I'm going to land long term, because that feels like that is a sustainable dose. But I'm still healing. Like I still have okay, so another one of my healing things on this healing journey is since my wreck, I don't really know the logistics of the why, but I have gotten up every night to go to the bathroom. At least once, sometimes twice, sometimes 3 times. The very beginning of doing carnivore, about 2 months in, I started only getting up just once, and then periodically I wouldn't get up at all. I wouldn't get up till 7. Now I don't usually wake up at 7, so I might lay back down for a little bit longer. And then I've had a long stall with weight loss. There's been a lot of stressors at times. Lost my last living relative that's an elder other than my godmother, Aunt Jane, which she's not my natural bloodline. She's sturdy and she just turned 85 and she's amazing. And she loves me and she's loved me all of my life. So anyway, but here I am. I am now, I think last night was like the 10th or 12th time out of the last 3 weeks that I've slept all the way through the night. Can you just imagine all these years of now I've taken care of people that were elderly and that's their norm. Like, I don't know, I don't think of myself as elderly, but my husband still does home health as a rehab therapist, as an OT. And he has people that are a lot younger than him that he takes care of. And they're all getting up during the night. They have swelling and inflammation and all those different things, and all that fluid goes down at night, and then you get up once or twice a night. Sometimes it's hard to get back to sleep. So yeah, that's terrible, but that's part of my, that's a breakthrough for me. I am delighted with this, and I think this may be my new normal. I don't know, because I think that until your body has hit that place, and I feel like that once I hit that place of healed all the way, and I don't know, maybe I won't hit that all the way, but I am better than I ever thought I would be at my age. Sleeping through the night, good energy during the day, good clear thought, I've always been a rabbit trail person, just for the record. It doesn't matter how old I am. So anyway, but that's still clear thought. It's tracked back to where I was going. Okay, so then, I mentioned the first time I hit 340. That's a lot. Out of breath all the time, couldn't walk, walked with a cane for many years. And I gradually took some of that weight off. And then I did something called Trim Healthy Mama. I think that works for some people. I got too into the frankenfoods and the pretend you're eating something bad, but it's really bad still. And I didn't feel nourished. I wasn't nourished. And that's what triggered my deep menopause. And I felt the Holy Spirit just whisper in my heart. He's like, you're not eating enough food. You're eating stuff, but it's not food. There was a pretty funny video. I might put a little clip of that in here, but it's basically the majority of what most people eat every day, the ingredient list is this long. It's not food. I mean, so that's where most of your calories are coming in, or a lot of calories. Like some people are very health minded or they're whole food minded. There's been lots of good movements to send people down the path of real food. So anyway, so that second time was 8 years ago, and that was the picture I put up that last time. And of course, I'll put up one from after my reg, or a few of those, who knows, we'll see. I might even put a few at the end, and I'll just put some like dates or whatever. So, but that last round, that was rough. That was rough. And so the Trim Healthy Mama, was what triggered me to go deeper into menopause. I was malnourished. It was a hot mess. And then we had the blessed, a few years ago. And again, that's the time I went into a level of menopause that required medical intervention. And I got some help with that, with the bioidentical hormones. That was like epic, life-changing. Let me just tell you, if you're in menopause and you're having hot flashes and you're having panic attacks, I don't have that kind of anxiety. I knew that virus was cooked, if you know what I mean. Try not to do anything that's going to get my video dumped, if you know what I mean. That happens. So I didn't really have anxiety related to that. I mean, we were in some really crazy times, right? But I'm just telling you, that was not, for me, that wasn't the issue. So anyway, yeah, so I got into something else that was really helpful. It was called Pro Metabolic. And like I said, if you go and check out my channel, you look at the older content. Some of that older content, it's still bone broth. I got tons of collagen videos, tons of bone broth videos, how to make milk kefir, kefir yogurt. Honey fermented garlic is still a keeper. I know it's carbs. I know it's garlic, which is not meat-based, but it's medicinal. And I've got several quarts right up there that are old and lovely and taste great. And if we had an immune hit, yep, we'd be pulling those babies out. So I've got some videos on that one too. That's actually one of our top videos on this channel. And when we were on the other channel, Goshen Farm and Gardens, that was one of our #1 videos, along with the bone broth. And then we had one that was the golden milk video. That's still great. I still do turmeric every single day. Nope, that is not carnivore. But I went off of it for a bit, felt better on it. Did the same thing with coffee. Went off of it for 2 months. Didn't see any change, felt actually less good. I have a fatty liver and a little bit of a funky gallbladder they tried to take out years ago, but I keep it happy. Coffee just happens to be the #1 recommended, and I got back on coffee, and I love coffee. That's where I sneak in my collagen. I put some heavy cream in there. Sometimes I put a pat of butter. Sometimes I put an egg yolk in. And so those are all the things that I'm doing to nourish this frame. But what really turned the corner for me was, and it was really the Lord, it was the answer to prayer from my Mary. And that was going carnivore. And it is the most powerful thing you can do to shut down autoimmune disorders. It's the most powerful thing you can do to shut down eczema and psoriasis. It's the most powerful thing you can do to protect your heart. Like everybody goes, isn't that dangerous? My HDL has gone up, my triglycerides have gone down, and those are the only 2 markers that matter. If your HDL is where it should be, which is above 60, and your triglycerides are under 100, you have like 0 risk factors for cardiovascular disease, heart attack, stroke. They're all gone. But this way of eating has brought down all my inflammation, including the labs. The labs are supporting it, but my body is supporting it. And sleeping through the night, gosh, that's like amazing. So I know it's like a little baby that's kind of finally learned how to sleep through the night. The mom's like, oh, thank God I get a whole night's sleep, So anyway, I feel like I don't want to overpound this in, but I just want you to know, like, there we go. That is what the Lord has done for me and for my family, to bring down inflammation, to shut down my husband's diabetes, to completely shut down Mary's asthma. It has eliminated nearly all of the pain that I could not get under control with my other ways of doing things. Bone broth has been miraculous. Collagen's been miraculous. Those are all still part of my daily routine. So is milk kefir. Keeps your gut cultured, and it helps make everything you consume be bioavailable. So anyway, that's kind of it in a nutshell. I feel like, people are like, wow, you're overweight. And I'm like, I'm 140 pounds less than I was on my worst day. Yes, I still have about 35, 40 pounds to go before I hit what they call my ideal body weight. I don't know. know, I feel great. I've got great energy. I can do circles around most people half my age. So I'm okay with where I am. It's not coming off fast. I'm okay with that. I mean, it's been a solid 40 pounds with carnivore and meat-based. And I would say ketovore for me. The girls are keto. They still do maple syrup and honey. Rachel never stopped. She didn't really have any weight to lose. Mary had a little bit she needed to lose, which she did. So they both do roots and fruits. We don't do any grains. If we do, it's so rare and it's sourdough and it has not triggered Mary, but that's it. If it's a fermented bread, we'll use it. I'm way more careful with all of that. I find I just thrive plowing forward, staying pretty much ketovore. I do occasional vegetables, low inflammatory. Low trigger for me. Bell peppers were one of my number one vegetables that I loved. I don't eat them at all. Not even one little bite, ever. It is the biggest trigger for inflammation in my body. It is nightshade. Now, potatoes are also a nightshade, no trigger. And I do eat those occasionally. Mary has no trigger with that at all. And so they eat, Keith and I, we pretty much stay, low carb. I don't do no carb. I feel good on about 30 grams a day of carbs. I get mine almost exclusively through fruit and berries, and a little, there's carbs in meat. So I really track that. I don't track carbs in like heavy cream or cheese because both of those I treat as a condiment. I do not treat those as food. So for me, I'm landing right about 20 to 30 grams of carbs a day and doing fantastic. And my body is obviously still healing. So I'm gonna just stay the course. I feel like where we've landed is our long-term gig. So I think that's it. That's where I am, where I've come from. I feel like it's in a nutshell. I could have said a whole lot more. I probably said way more than anybody wants to listen to, but I know there are those of y'all that are along for the long haul, and bless you. This is meant to give you hope. It's meant to encourage you. It's meant to say, don't give up. The Most High God is with us, and you cry out to him. He hears us and he answers those prayers. And sometimes they're subtly, sometimes they're gradual, and sometimes they're just a bump that moves you in this direction or that direction, and it lands you in a healthier place than you were before. So God bless you. Thanks for coming by, and definitely share our content with somebody you think that it will bless them, and subscribe, hit the bell, because we're putting content out on a regular basis now. We have great Wi-Fi. It's super easy to do things now. Give us a subscribe. Turn your notifications on. We're putting out content on a regular basis. Rachel's doing a great job with editing. She's over here to my right, watching to know when it's time to turn this off, and share with people that you think that will help them. And we are definitely going to be moving in other directions. I have a book that I've been working on for about a year. I feel like the Lord has been fine-tuning it. So I'm going to rewrite it for the second time, tweak it a bit, and yeah, hopefully it's going to be out in the next, I don't know. I don't want to put a timeline on myself, but it's going to be out. And when it is, I'll give y'all a little notification up here to let you know to please check it out on Amazon, because that's where we're going to publish it. And God bless you. Thanks for dropping in. Well, no, this is not the end, and the journey definitely is continuing. So I have not arrived at my end point, but gosh, thanks for coming along on my journey, my healing journey thus far. So hey, we would love it if you would help our channel grow. The best way you can help our channel grow is to get our videos out there. The more traction we get, the more access I will have to other content. So we're hoping eventually to be getting a sponsor for our channel through Zazie and GSC. Those are the goals we're working at, but it matters how many subscribers we have. So please help us out with that. And then eventually I'm going to be starting a podcast. So I have a handful of folks that I'm going to be reaching out once we get enough traction on our channel that we can hopefully get somebody over that we can interview to do with healing and the anti-inflammatory protocol of carnivore and meat-based ketogenic way of eating. So definitely give us a help in that area. And also below in the show notes, we will have a link to our website. So if you will lead in through our website and our supplements blog, there's a generic link down there too. So that might be more convenient for you, but either one of those, and that helps give our channel traction with Amazon, and it helps fund us continuing to have our website So yeah, those are great ways you can help us out. And definitely leave us some comments. I answer 100% of my comments and would love to hear how you're doing in your healing journey. God bless you, and thank you again for dropping by our Midwest Meanderings.